Hi, I'm Bob Nystrom.
Hi, this is Bo Dietl.
Hey, this is Rich Big Daddy Salgado.
Hi, this is Doc Goodney, and you're watching Sports Biz.
Sports Biz.
Sports Biz with LD.
Sports fans, this is Sports Biz with LD.
Welcome to Sports Biz with LD. I'm your host, Larry Davis. Brought to you by the Rampart Insurance Group. For all your insurance needs, rampartinsurancegroup.com. Easy Pawn Corp, located in the city with 15 locations. You need something right now on the spot, cash money, they will give it to you. 388 Restaurant and Lounge at 388 Willis Avenue in Roslyn, New York. And A1 VIP Entertainment for all your VIP entertainment needs and tickets. One place to go, VIPentertainment.com. And of course, the Daily Blue. Without the Daily Blue, we would not be on. You could always find us on Facebook, LD, Sports Biz with LD. Our website, Sports Biz with LD, and Twitter at Sports Biz with LD. The man behind the camera who gets me all my information, who doesn't come as often as he could, Andy, what's going on, buddy?
What's going on, Larry? It's good to be here. I'm happy to be here tonight, and let's have a great show.
We're always going to have a great show, Andy. I like when you say that. But
I know we will.
Well, let's talk about the red jacket. I mean, I don't know. It's not a sport jacket. It's not a suit jacket. And it's not cold in here.
Well, it's not your power tie, I'll tell you that much. But I'm a color commentator for Stony Brook Hockey, so we get a lot of cool stuff, including this jacket.
So tell us about that gig, the Stony Brook Hockey. How you doing with it? How's the team?
They're doing really well this year. They're ranked number 4 in the ACHA rankings. They're moving their way up. The second half of the season starts in a couple weeks when they come back home, and they'll be playing Liberty. So you can come out to the rinks in Hauppauge. Check it out.
Does anyone come? I mean, anybody in the stadium watching the games?
Actually, yes. We do get a lot of people there. Our last home series in November was against Arizona State, the reigning national champions.
Oh, Arizona State. Oh, isn't that where you went? Arizona State University?
It was. And now the fact that they're an NCAA team, they're going to get a little bit more coverage. But there were a lot of people there because they were the reigning national champions. We were sold out both games.
Arizona State is the reigning national champions, and they came to Stony Brook to play?
Yep.
Wow. And you said sold out both, so they played 2 games?
Yeah, they played that Saturday and Sunday, and both games were sold out.
Is that usually how it goes? You play 2 home games against the team?
Yeah. It's almost like a series in baseball where like the AL and NLDS goes 2-2-1. This would be like the first 2 games. And then Stony Brook goes out to Arizona to play the Sun Devils at the end of January.
Now, do you go to the away games or you just do home games?
We only do the home games.
I love that.
I would love to travel with the team, but I don't quite have the budget for it, and neither do they.
And you got a job.
And I got a job.
You have a job, man, so you can't really go.
I have several jobs, including this one.
That's right, exactly. So one last question on that. Did you win? Did Stony Brook beat them?
They beat them one game. They beat them Sunday. The Saturday game, Arizona State took it to them.
So them beating Arizona State
helped them in the rankings.
But is that like a huge win? Like, did they have no shot going in there to beat them?
It wasn't that they had no shot. They played in the national semifinal last season, and it was a tie game for a good portion of the game. Arizona State won late, and then to beat them at home this year is a big win for them.
Yeah, that is a big win. Let's move on to professional sports, if you don't mind.
That's cool. That's okay with me.
You know, if you weren't wearing the red jacket, I might not have brought all that up, but let's move on to the man who's taken the country by storm, not just here in New York, Odell Beckham Jr. Okay? Odell Beckham Jr., the guy, to me, definitely Offensive Rookie of the Year.
For sure. That's without a question.
Now, his stats, and he only played 10 games, so he missed 4 games in 14 games of the season. This Sunday, the Giants are playing the 15th game of the year. 71 receptions. Almost 1,000 yards. He got 972 yards. 972 yards, 1,000 yards, right? Can we say that?
Yeah, and he's leading all rookies in reception yards. He's tied for the rookie lead in receptions at 71 with Jarvis Landry, and he's got 9 touchdowns on top of that, where he's tied for second among rookies.
With Mike Evans.
With Kelvin Benjamin.
Mike Evans has 11.
Mike Evans has 11, leading the league.
I mean, these stats are full season.
Yeah, and he did that in 10 games.
So, I'll throw this out at you, Andy. Odell Beckham, if he played a full season, okay, with the numbers he would have put up, averaging what, like 90 yards a game?
About a little under 100, which is fantastic.
Fantastic. Could he be up there? I'll throw something crazy at you. Could he be up there for the MVP? Is that possible? I mean, everybody looks at Aaron Rodgers. I got it. But the numbers he would have put up with those 4 games, maybe the Giants would have went 3-1. Maybe they'd be in the playoff picture. People would be talking about him as maybe an MVP candidate.
I'm going to say no, and only because no wide receiver has ever won the MVP. Because if a wide receiver has a good season, that means that his quarterback had an even better season. The quarterback will always get the MVP award over the wide receiver.
Okay, so that's interesting you brought that up. So if you look at Eli's stats through the 10 games Beckham's been here, no one will be thinking Eli's an MVP candidate.
No, but at the same time, if you put him in those first 4 games and the Giants have a better season, you would look past the fact of these 10 games where they really struggled.
Now, a no-name guy I never heard of, Bill Groman, has the record with the Oilers for 1,473 yards in a season as a rookie. And I'll put you on the spot because I have no idea. Who was his quarterback in 1960?
1960, I don't know, but you also have to remember, that was the old AFL where they've actually played less games too.
Wow, I didn't realize that. And the AFL was just always throwing the ball, right? They didn't even know what a running game was.
Yeah, not until Emerson Boozer and Matt Snell came along.
And it's interesting you did bring up that no receivers ever won the MVP. You think of the years of Jerry Rice, but like you're saying, you immediately think of Joe Montana.
And Steve Young.
And Steve Young, so in those years, most probably he would have won it. Odell Beckham Jr., and then the catch. It's unbelievable.
He captured the sports world with 3 fingertips.
With 3 fingers. He's a 3-finger guy. Odell Beckham Jr. You know, let's move on to the other football team.
The one that causes misery every year.
Yeah, you know, they love to say the Rex came along and, you know, it's not the same old Jets. No, it's the same old Jets. Nothing's changed, okay? He had a year or 2, and that's about it. They're right back being the same lousy team with lousy management, with lousy players, with lousy coach.
This almost reminds me of the Kotite years, and those are years that make Jets fans probably go into the fetal position.
Why are they any different? Because Rex came out brash and yelling and screaming, talked a big game. I don't know. They're playing the Patriots this week. Is Rex ready to kiss the ring? Because he always said, "Oh, I'm not ready to kiss Belichick's ring." I think it's time.
He's going to want to go out there and win what will likely be his last home game at MetLife Stadium. So he's going to want to go there and kick Bill Belichick's rings, not kiss him.
Listen, he's been saying that ever since he got it. He's not kicking his rings. Is it time for him to kiss the ring?
No, because he has too much pride to do it. But the fact that they're 10.5-point underdogs in a home game is also kind of telling of where the direction of this team is right now.
And I like how during the week Rex said, you know, oh, if I had a Tom Brady. Yeah, you don't have Tom Brady. You've never developed a quarterback. You've never developed an offensive coordinator, everyone you picked. And I love how every player is like, we love Rex, we'll do everything for him. You know, they said that last year, and then at the end of the year, they said, and Rex admitted, that he lost the locker room. So, you know, all these players can talk what they want. They love Rex, and last year he lost the locker room. Did he lose the locker room this year? Because you can talk they're playing hard. They're not playing hard. They stink.
And there were reports coming out that this year's locker room was toxic. And that's not a word you see thrown around too often.
Really? I didn't hear that. What'd they say?
They said that things were starting to get a little crazy in the locker room, that especially with the whole Geno Smith, Michael Vick thing. And some people were firmly behind Geno. Others were behind Vick. And behind Vick for the majority of the season, especially once Geno started struggling around like week 3 and 4. Because once that game against the Packers, where he actually didn't play that badly, and he just kind of got screwed at the end by the fact that Marty Morningway called a timeout when Geno threw a touchdown. Yeah, after that, it just kind of did this, like the stock market.
How can anyone? Well, the stock market's going up, so I don't know what you mean by the stock market. Stock market's flying right now. As we tape, it's flying.
2008 stock market.
Oh,
Geno
you didn't say that. You didn't say that. Now, let's get back to Geno Smith. How can anyone, Andy Suekoff, in that locker room be behind Gino? What has the guy done that any player in that locker room can say, I want Gino to be the quarterback? Nobody.
In my opinion, not a thing.
Not a thing. What player is going to sit there and go, Gino should be our quarterback? Gino has done absolutely nothing. And he said, and the Jets are, so excited about their win last week. He beat the Titans, who stink, who lost again last night. And by the way, Thursday Night Football this year has been, every game has stunk, almost.
I would agree with that, except for the Thanksgiving games. The Thanksgiving games were actually pretty good.
Thanksgiving is considered Thanksgiving. It's not considered a Thursday night game. Sorry, even though it's on a Thursday. Can't consider that. Now,
and that being said, the Jets almost lost to the Titans on that last play of the game.
And it was 16. They won 16-11.
That's not a football score.
Exactly. Now, I think I read somewhere that there's never been a game that was 16-11. Did I read that right?
Yeah, and now we can write that off our bucket list. We've seen a 16-11 game.
It wasn't on my bucket list.
It wasn't on mine either.
It wasn't on my bucket list. But I would say to you, getting back to that, one, no one's rooting for Gino. Two, what about the banner that came over the stadium, the practice field the other day?
The fans want to be heard. They paid over $10,000 to get the billboards, to get the banners flying over. Personally, I think that's a waste of money because I'm pretty sure that Woody Johnson.
So you mean you didn't go on the website and donate any money?
Not a chance.
I'll tell you one interesting.
As much as I don't like John Nittick, I'm not wasting my money on that.
I'll tell you one interesting stat that you got for me. Rex is 45-49 in his tenure here. Not terrible. It's not. I really would have thought it would be a lot worse.
Now, take away this season, he's 5 games over 500.
Right. So he's 5 games over 500, which isn't terrible, but the guy's not a head coach. I'm sorry. And for people to be saying that, he'll get a head coaching job, why are you giving him a head coach? What has he done that you could say, this is a head coach? What has he done?
Well, looking at it, some of the teams that are going to need coaches in the coming years, the Chicago Bears. He's better than Trestman.
Let's get into that. I'm glad you brought up the Bears. It's not in my notes, but let's talk about that because just today, or was it late last night, they bench Jay Cutler, and they're going with, do you remember him? Jimmy Clausen.
The last time he was a relevant starter, I think Brady Quinn had just gotten drafted.
Well, it's interesting you brought that up because I think his record as a starter is 1-9.
Yeah,
so
he was on bad Panthers teams. You got to remember that.
Oh, okay. You're 1-9. Okay, that's your record.
Yeah,
Bill Parcells says, you are your record. So let's get to that. Jay Cutler having a terrible year, but his stats. I don't have them in front of me, but I think he had 18 interceptions, like 4 or 5 fumbles. He's around over 20 takeaways. Sounds like he's playing for the Jets, by the way. Sounds like a Jet quarterback.
Which may not be out of the realm of possibility for next season.
And he just signed the big deal last offseason.
Yeah.
Now, you get into that whole thing. So Mark Trestman benches him, even though a week ago he said he's not, which is fine. He can change his mind. I forget the GM's name, Phil something. I forget his last name. Who's involved in this decision? Because you think about it, there's 2 games left. You're not making the playoffs. It's not like you need to see what Jimmy Clausen can do. So why are you benching Jay Cutler? For what?
I don't really see a reason for it. Obviously, they think they're making the right decision by putting in Jimmy Clausen. Jimmy Clausen hasn't started a game since 2010.
Right, and then I heard Trestman say sometimes guys get benched and they come back stronger. Okay, I can see that.
Where's that for Geno Smith? I'm sorry, I had to throw the pot shot in.
You can throw it in there, but I don't see what you're doing with Jay Cutler. Jay Cutler's having a bad year. There is no doubt about it. There's no doubt that they got rid of him in Denver because whatever they didn't love, the mind of this. It just seems that you need the right coaching. You need the right person to get to the player. Cutler has talent. In my opinion, there are going to be many NFL teams who will take Jay Cutler off the hands of the Bears.
There will be a line of probably 15 teams where their general managers are banging down the Chicago door saying, hey, we'll take him. And the Jets I think, should be one of them.
I think he's a total upgrade over what the Jets got going on.
Yeah.
Let's move on to our New York Knickerbockers.
They're your Knicks, not mine. Just throwing that out there. I don't like the Knicks.
They're our Knicks. Okay? They are the city team.
And they suck.
Wow, that's a bad word. It's a 4-letter word, Andy. You are on.
I know, but there could have been a lot worse things I could have said about them. But when you're 5-23, you're bad.
They're 5-23, but it's interesting. Like I think I said this to you on our drive over here. The Knicks lose by 5 or less, like they did last night. That's like a win for them.
And I disagree with you because guess what? Doesn't matter if you lose by 3 or if you lose by 30. In the standings, it's still a loss.
You're right, but when you're 5-23, that is like a win. You know, you lose by less than 5.
It's a moral victory. I'll give you that, but it is not a win.
I don't believe in any moral victories. I'm just saying, less than 5, you can walk away and go, we were close. When you're 5-23.
But you got to remember, Joakim Noah wasn't at 100% last night. Derrick Rose is, he's a wild card.
DNP did not play.
Yeah, exactly. So you put a healthy Rose and a healthy Joakim Noah, they lose by 20.
Yeah, but your superstar, Mr. Carmelo Anthony, did not play. Mr. Carmelo, I didn't want to play in Chicago because I'm in love in New York $30 million later. Okay? And now he's got the bad knee, so he's not, he might not play. Does it really matter? Carmelo is a number 2. He's not a number 1 starter. He's always been a number 2 guy if you use the pitching rotation thing. And it's not his fault. Okay? But he's a number 2 guy. Okay? In Chicago, if he wanted to win, Chicago was the place. But nobody's leaving $30 million on the table. That article just came out last month. I think it was in ESPN magazine. I'm not even sure where he talked about that he's a CEO. No CEO leaves $30 million on the table.
You'd have to be crazy to leave that kind of money out there.
And I totally agree with those little rumblings out that were here earlier in the week that he's not happy and he wants to be traded. 100% he does, because the smart move is take the money. December 15th, all free agents could be traded. December 15th was last week, a couple of days ago, and get traded. He did it in Denver, said, listen, I want out of here.
I know you're a rock guy, so Steve Miller said it best. Take the money and run.
Steve Miller, can you sing a little bit of that?
I'm tone deaf.
Go on, take the money and run.
Ooh, ooh, ooh.
There you go. So, on the Carmelo, and here's my other take on the Knicks. You trade for Jose Calderon. He's hurt in the beginning of the year. Led the league in three-point shooting. If I'm the Knicks, if I'm Derek Fisher, I am so calm when I lose 23 games a year, Fisher. I don't understand how easily he handles losing when a guy's never been a loser. Kick the ball out to Calderon. Shoot every 3 you can. Tim Hardaway Jr., shoot every open 3 you can. Dump the ball down low to Amari. Let Carmelo work down low too. Let Carmelo do whatever he wants. Every time the ball goes down in the paint, kick it out to the 3-point line and shoot. It can't be worse.
I'm thinking this, with Carmelo Anthony out right now.
I need a drink after all that.
With Carmelo Anthony out right now, what I think they should do is actually try to implement the triangle offense, because Carmelo Anthony is not.
So you're just blowing off what I just said about shooting from 3, but you didn't even comment on that.
Well, I'm cool with Calderon shooting.
But you didn't say anything.
I'm getting there.
Okay.
Calderon shooting 3s, I'm cool with it. He's shooting over 42% from beyond the arc.
42.3.
So that's pretty good.
So shoot the ball.
But this is where I'm thinking. Remember when Carmelo Anthony was hurt a couple years ago, and they bring in Jeremy Lin, and they kind of took off from there? See what you have now.
Okay, so who do they have now?
Maybe you can have a more team-oriented game where you don't have Carmelo Anthony on the court, and you have Hardaway, Shumpert, Calderon, and Amari.
Well, they might not have any choice with Carmelo going down if he decides to bail. And if I'm him, why not bail? Play a few more games, act like you're trying to do it for the team, and then the knee is that bad. But if the knee was that bad, he seems to be okay with his knee. But to me, start shooting a 3. Why not? I know the triangle, I got all that. End of the day, this year's a bust. Why stick with the triangle? I don't even know what it is. I don't even see it going on. And if Calderon is open, these guys are open, you're open from 3, shoot the rock. Okay? Especially Calderon at 42.3%.
That's a good clip.
Good?
Those are Reggie Miller numbers.
Exactly. So if he goes in there and you say him, I need you to take 6 to 10 3-pointers a game, which he consider, I'm assist guy first, I'm a playmaker first. No, I need you to score. There's no one on this team you need to get the ball to. Carmelo can get it himself. There's no one else on this team that needs the ball. You dump it down to Amari. It's not that hard to get it down low to him. Amari is the MVP of the Knicks right now. He's playing the best. Okay, and let Calderon and these other guys shoot the rock from the trade line. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, late breaking trade. Andy, hit us with the trade the Yankees just made that you do not like.
I don't like it at all. The Yankees traded Martin Prado, who they just got.
Martin or Martin?
Martin.
Okay, just making sure.
They traded Martin Prado and David
Which they
Phelps.
just got last year, right?
Right.
In what trade? Who'd they trade for?
They traded him they got him from the Diamondbacks. And they traded Pete O'Brien, who was that big hitting catcher, who was having a really good offensive season in the minor leagues. And then they traded David.
That doesn't mean anything, okay? Especially in the Yankee minor leagues.
Doesn't hurt when you're hitting 30 home runs. But that all being
true.
said,
You're not hiding 30. You're right.
that all being said, they traded Prado and David Phelps to the Miami Marlins.
David Phelps was a reliable starter, innings eater,
Right.
out of the bullpen, but he was hurt a little bit last year, wasn't
Right.
he?
But
Like
then-
everybody else in the rotation.
It's the Yankees. Their injuries, they're like night and day.
Right.
They traded him to the Miami Marlins for 25-year-old Nate Eovaldi, who's his flame-throwing pitcher, cops out like 100 miles an hour.
Which means he's going to get hurt when these guys throw that kind of number, right? They just all get hurt.
And then they got first baseman Garrett Jones, a left-handed hitter who strikes out a lot, and a low-level prospect, Domingo Germán, who's 21, and according to Baseball America, he's nowhere near ready.
So why are they making the trade? What are the Yankees saying why they made the trade? Who did they want? The flamethrower?
I guess, but if you need pitching, why would you trade another pitcher? Why would you trade David Phelps, who's proven that he gets you innings, he's been a reliable starter, and the fact that you've now lost 4 starting pitchers from last season, McCarthy, Kuroda, Green, and now Phelps, who's pitching?
Right, who's pitching is everybody's injured. You got CC who's injured, he's done. Okay, he's just done. Okay, then you got Pineda, who might be okay. If you can keep Pineda healthy, I think he's a good pitcher.
I agree with that. Nova's coming off of Tommy John.
Nova's not back till June, maybe July. I don't know what you're counting on there.
And Tanaka's the wild card because you don't know how he's going to come back from the elbow.
Yankees feel Tanaka's okay. He had a partial tear. Anybody else would have given him TJ surgery. Yankees felt they don't need TJ surgery. So he's going in. What are you going to do with him? Every time he throws a pitch, what are you going to think?
We're going to be sitting on pins and needles.
Could that be his last?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they re-signed Chase Headley. I don't get who is he? 4 years, $52 million. I mean, who is this guy? What am I missing? He's getting $13 million a year. What did he do? His stats when he in San Diego. Okay, in 2012. Okay, but we're in 2014, 2015.
Yeah.
31 homers, 115 ribbies. That was 3 years ago. 2 years ago. His combined stats, thanks to you, of course, 13 and 14, 26 homers and 99 ribbies. That's 2 years worth of stats. What did he do for the Yankees last year, which you didn't put it on? What was his stats for the Yankees?
Yes, I did. I put it on. They're 58 games.
You're absolutely right. I'm sorry. You did put it on here. I don't like your tone of voice. He hit 262, 6 homers and 17 ribbies in 58 games. What is that? That's $13 million a year?
Might be considered a bargain for the Yankees. Look, I don't think A-Rod's an everyday third baseman. And once they signed Pelly, that might have been the death knell for Prado.
And who's going to play second base?
I'm thinking it's going to be Rob Refsnyder out of AAA.
Again,
if he can.
who's going to play second base? So the New York Yankees, okay? The Bronx Bombers are going to have who at second base? This team, Andy, is not making the playoffs. The only shot they have is because Joe Maddon's gone, the best manager. You can tell me Girardi all day long. Girardi's got $200 million payroll. Give me a break when he's such a great manager, okay? I don't want to hear it. He's got plenty of players and plenty of backups, okay? Joe Maddon's gone. Tampa Bay, you just helped yourself because now Tampa Bay's in trouble because he's a great manager. You got Boston who spent some money, they got a shot. Okay, Toronto spending more money. Toronto just doesn't know how to win. For whatever players they put on the team, they don't know how to win. And then you got Baltimore, who's I love Buck Showalter, but Buck lost Andrew Miller signed with the Yankees, right?
Yeah.
Then you lost
Markakis to the Braves.
Markakis, which they weren't loving, and then you lost Cruz. So so that's the only shot the Yankees. The Yankees are an 85-win team if everything goes well.
And speaking of the Braves, they actually traded Justin Upton today to the San Diego Padres. They're making moves.
They're making moves. They brought back their old general manager, and they're making moves. But
they got Will Myers from Tampa Bay.
But the Braves should have won the last couple of years. They're keeping the manager, I guess, right?
Yeah.
And they've faltered every year, the Braves. So the Braves are making moves. That team should have won with who they had. And then one last thing on the Yankees, they bring back the lefty Chris Capuano on a one-year deal for $5 million. He pitched okay, but is that the Yankees? One last thing we're going to leave with the show with. Just passed away the other day. Cy Berger. The father, not even a question, of the modern day baseball card.
Got a bunch of them right here.
Everybody had baseball cards as kids. Can you show a few, Andy?
We can show us.
This is what the baseball card was all about. Cy Berger started this business in his basement in Rockville Center. Here's the card. Still the same today. Show us the older cards, Andy. And look how they're the same. Maybe just a little better photos and stuff, but that was the old ones.
Yeah, these are cards from 1986.
And these are this year. And the back. Show the back.
Yeah, the back.
So we have the stats and a little information on the player. The front's still the same. Photo of the player, their name, team they're on, and the Topps logo in the corner.
And then the back is their height, weight, stats, and a little blurb if they haven't played more than 10 years.
Cy Berger created the business of Topps. The man needs to be mentioned. You know, in the collectible business, this was the first thing people started collecting were baseball cards. And a little known fact, everybody looks at the bubble gum that's in the card, the bazooka, but originally, Andy found out first, was taffy. Yeah, was it different colors or one taffy, vanilla, and that was it?
The article didn't mention, but Cy Berger was looking to promote his taffy, putting them in the cards. And
what do you mean his taffy? He had a taffy business?
Because Topps was part of the American Tobacco Company, and they were selling the cards with cigarettes.
American Tobacco meaning cigarettes?
Yes.
Really?
Well, back when they first started creating baseball cards in the 19th century, they put the cards in cigarette packets.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, that's why the Honus Wagner card is so rare, because he said, I don't want my card to be associated with smoking cigarettes.
Wow, a guy really cared about health, and in those days, no one cared about health. People just smoking, drinking, and eating anything they wanted.
Yeah, so then before Bazooka came along, they put the taffy in the cards. That only lasted about a year. They put the gum in the cards. People liked that better. And then a few years later, nobody started eating the gum because the gum was awful. Right,
the gum was awful, was very hard, and the taffy was soft. So they went from soft taffy to hard gum. Boy, it's amazing. I want to thank our sponsors. 388 Restaurant and Lounge, 388 Willis Avenue, Roslyn, New York. A1 VIP Entertainment for all your ticket and meet and greet needs. Easy Pawn Corp, located throughout the city. You need money, cash on the spot, Easy Pawn is your place. And Rampart Insurance Group for all your insurance needs, the RampartInsuranceGroup.com. SportsBizWithLD.com. You go on to Facebook, SportsBizWithLD, and you can tweet us at SportsBizWithLD. For my boy Andy, the intern who's now like an executive assistant, and whenever he wants co-host of the show, I'm Larry Davis. We'll see you next time.
Sports Biz is sponsored by the Rampart Insurance Group for all your insurance needs. Special thanks to MintPros.com. Brought to you by the Daily Blue Network. Sports fans, this is Sports Biz with LD.